Earnings, earnings, earnings. We are in the middle of earnings season and it's having an impact on specific stocks. And today, the index is Tesla made a big move. But I just wanted to point out with the Nasdaq here, it was down 300 points yesterday and had an inside day today and was up 138 points. So it got roughly half of that back. It was kind of a weak bounce back. I was hoping it would get 150 or more, but I'd be happy if it just got above the high from the sell-off on Wednesday, which was 18,509. And it's close to that. It's less than 100 points away. So maybe we can get above that tomorrow. The rally is getting a little long in the tooth. You can expect most rallies to last about 12, 13 weeks. This one's about 10 weeks here in the making. So I still think we have a few more weeks, certainly of rallying in the NASDAQ. Then we have the mega cap tech stocks reporting next week. I think they're going to be good and be an impetus for the NASDAQ to get above that old high of 18,671, which was made on July 11th. I've got that etched in my brain. Anyway, it's been up 6 of the last 7 days, but kind of a tepid move, because of this 300-point profit-taking day on Wednesday. But, all it did technically, it's been riding the 10 and now on Wednesday, just traded down to the 21 and bounced. Now it closed today, tick above the 10, 1% above the 21, and only 3.1% above this 50 here, a rising 50. So the rally looks good. The rally looks strong. We're in a power trend. I expect, at least, 3 more weeks of rally here as we head into November, which is, seasonably a strong month, but you can't always count on seasonality for your stocks. But anyway, the Nasdaq looks fantastic. The IWM, not so much, still consolidating here. It's above its 50 though, 0.9% above the 50. I just think that the Nasdaq's going to start to take a leadership role here. Here's the SPY, made a high, then pulled back to its 21 and had an inside day today as well. And the Dow, which has been the leading index, it was the first to get into a power trend, is now trading below its 21. So as Tesla had the big earnings, like sucked the life out of the market today, all the money was going towards Tesla, this mega cap tech stock with massive volume, and kind of suck the money out of the industrials here. And you can see now the Dow Jones Industrial Average 0.3% below the 21. So that one's starting to weaken as the NASDAQ gets stronger. And that's the rotation that we've been seeing in a healthy bull market. That's what you get. The money flows from one sector to another, and it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. And you just got to wait your turn. If you're sitting in industrial stocks, obviously there's been a lot of sectors rolling nicely, including the miners, right? But the winner today was Tesla, and obviously Tesla's large cap tech stock now, 832 billion market cap, was up 22%. When a large liquid name like this moves 22%, you got to pay attention to that. Close at 260. You can see 92% of that daily range. That is a nice candle. This is a cup with handle, and it's got that buy point at 264.86. But right now, it's 13.5% above its 10. So it's a little extended here. I would just wait if you didn't get in today. If you didn't own it before this, there'll be time. I believe it's got to pull back a little bit, or have an inside day or so. Allow the moving averages to catch up a little bit. But it was the thing about Tesla is, everybody talks about the short sellers and that's fueling a rally, but they had, they went from negative EPS growth to 9% EPS growth, and they went from 2% sales growth to 8%, but the margins were increasing. So that was what another positive aspect of the Tesla earnings report. So the Tesla shareholders are certainly happy with that report today. And if I just take a look at the weekly here, yeah, it's got 14% short interest again. So probably some short covering today. They got burned, and you can see this big move this week. So congrats to the Tesla longs there. That was a nice move. I did mention that the all the money flowing to Tesla kind of sucked the sales out of some of these other names, but to me, Nvidia looks fantastic. It's not going to go up every day. It was flat on the session, but still, it made this high here, and now it's got this bull wedge pattern back to the 10. That's what you want to see. Everybody's all eyes are on NVIDIA. Everybody's expecting this thing to break out above that 141 level. And oftentimes stocks are just not going to do what the herd wants them to do. So NVIDIA is probably going to handle out here, I would say, for a little bit, be a little stubborn. It doesn't have earnings till the 20th, and it might just wait that long before it blasts higher. But I do expect this one to break out of this box here and trade much higher. Like I said, I think 165 is a legitimate target for that once it decides to move. Anyway, I don't want to get into all the Mag 7. When you see Tesla rolling, you think, oh man, they're all going to be up. But, Apple was down slightly. I mean, they're flat. A lot of them are just flat today. Microsoft flat as a pancake. Amazon is in the consumer discretionary group with Tesla. So I thought it might get some pin action, but, not that much, less than 1%. So Tesla did suck all the money today. So, yeah, if you're a Tesla, if you're a Tesla bull, you're very happy today. That's a nice move. A little concerned. It's got what, a 850 billion market cap with about, it's trading nearly 10 times sales. So, but that never bothered Tesla. Everybody talks about the PE and the price to sales, but Tesla is kind of trades to its own self. Anyway, I'm going to get off Tesla because there's a lot of earnings. And I love earnings season. And in a bull market, in a healthy market, an uptrending market, when companies report strong earnings, they typically get a positive response. And that's what we're seeing now, unless they're totally extended. And there are a lot of stocks extended right now. That's why, I'm going to get to that in a minute. But this is a CLS. So there's not a lot of stocks set up. There's a lot of stocks extended. So it's pretty hard to buy there. This is a classic, talked about this so much recently, the pullback to the 21. Now, obviously, you're not going to get heavy buying right before an earnings report, but hey, this is a nice breakout. This is what you want to see, power from the pivot, huge volume coming in, CLS. This is a electrical contracting manufacturing stock. And so you look elsewhere. This is what I do. When I see a stock up like that with volume, obviously this is one to put on your watch list, 18% move. But I look at other names within the group. Sanmina, is up 2%. Jabble, up, nearly 2%. And so this is what I look for, kind of auxiliary plays. Oh, this one's nice here, 34.12, buy point right there for Flex, and it was up 2.5%. So we'll take that. Another one in this group that reported earnings that had a nice response was Plexus. Nice, another electrical contracting manufacturing stock, thinly traded, but man, that's a nice move. The daily range was at 44% of the daily range, so it hit 153, then pulled back and closed at 144. But still, that's a nice move there for Plexus. And that's in that group. So that group will probably be moving up this week. Some other names not in that group. ServiceNow is a big leader in the software names. Now, last night they reported and the stock was down. And I'm thinking, man, it's down, it was down 1 or 2% on a really strong earnings report. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it in the video, but I was thinking to myself, like, that's probably going to turn around. And I woke up this morning and saw it down in pre-market, then it turned around and went from negative to positive. Man, did it go positive, up nearly $50 or 5%. It was higher during the session. I want to see the daily closing range there, 41%. So nice move there. Once again, I mean, if you've seen this before, raise your hand. Nice little bull wedge pattern back to the 21. But, you can't initiate a big position here because then it could have gone the other way. And then that you're not practicing risk management if you're just, you might as well go to the horse races or go to the casinos or, flip a coin, whatever. Because, it could have gone the other way. And same with Tesla, same with CLS. I mean, but, it was a strong earnings report and it was rewarded. So that's what we expect. That's what we want to see. And that's what I like about earnings season. And particularly this earnings season, we're seeing some of the bad numbers are getting punished and the good numbers are being rewarded. I'm not going to show you too many of the bad numbers because it gets negative and I want to say keep a positive vibe. This is Lending Club. It was up 11%. One of these financial, borrowing institutions. They're Lending Club. So anyway, power through that pivot there at 1287, which is you want to see, but what you don't want to see, to me anyway, if I own this, it made a high of 1552 and closed at 1382, 14% of that daily range. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. It looks like it just wanted to kind of close that gap there. Was at 1322. Yeah, it didn't quite do that. So it's got a little gap there at 1322. Oh no, wait, 1363. Yeah, it did close that gap. So maybe that's a positive. All right. Anyway, Lending Club, you know, you cannot question. I had people questioning these moves in the stocks today. It's like you can't question it. These big blue bars tell you all you need to know. The institutions are buying, and we want to follow the institutions, okay? And so, even if the report you don't think it was that good, well, somebody thinks it's that good, and that somebody is moving the stock. And so you don't want to argue. I repeat this all the time. You cannot argue with the market. I mean, if these stocks are getting rewarded, this is PEGA Systems, Computer Software Financials. This has been a really strong group. I mean, you want to own strong stocks and strong groups while the market's in a strong uptrend. And this is certainly one of them here. This one pulled back to its 50, formed that wedge pattern that I continue to talk about. Have we seen this before? This one pulled back to the 50 though. And like I say, you can't just jump in right before earnings and expect a 15% move. But this one closed at 97% of that daily range. So I'm expecting this one to trade above 80 here soon and power higher. Maybe not tomorrow, Friday, but next week. So this is definitely one that I'm going to watch. A 15% move with that type of volume. You got to pay attention to that. This is the one that people are saying, oh, they don't have any earnings. Viking Therapeutics, it doesn't have sales or earnings, but it doesn't matter. It's up 21% with that kind of volume. Don't argue with the market. Institutions are buying this. They heard something they liked. Yeah, I mean, we just get the reports. I mean, they must know something. They obviously like something about this company. This is one of those Darvis box breakouts, if you will. And so don't argue with that. RS99, RS line heading straight through the moving averages. So, don't argue. I'm not going to argue. I'm too old to argue. I just, follow the banks, follow the institutions. They will lead you to the promised land. You don't have to know much more than that. MXL, this is Maxline, is another one that people are saying, the earnings weren't that good. What they did though is they raised forward guidance. Sometimes, when this thing sold off, 26 to 11, I mean, sellers just get exhausted. And so there's no more sellers in this stock, obviously. So it's forming this little bottom here. And today it broke out of that little Darvis box. I mean, I don't know. Looked like a quality move to me. The thing about this one, though, is it made a high of like 1710 and closed at 1509 and 7% of the daily range. So that one closed the gap. And I don't know. Not the best move, not the strongest move that you'd like to see if you're owning this stock or buying into a breakout. You want to see them close near their highs. What other ones do we have today? There was just a ton of them in a lot of different areas. CBRE, this is a real estate development company. They reported, and I mean, my gosh, I mean, look at the power from that pivot of 125. You can't argue with this. This is massive volume, a nice strong move above that 125.43. That looks like a clean breakout to me. I mean, it's not rocket science here. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, though. RJF Financial, the finance stocks have been doing fantastic. This finance banker stock is banker broker is 18, so a top 20 name. 131 buy point here. This one just pulled back to the 10. So, they have varying degrees of strength. They pull back to the 10, they pull back to the 21, they pull back to the 50. But man, that's a nice breakout, 7% move and closed. Looks like near the upper quartile of its daily range there, 76%. So not bad. Congrats to the longs there at Raymond James. TPB, Turning Point Brands. Got to admit, don't know much about this tobacco, but I must acknowledge, new highs breaking out after an earnings report. So that 43.25 is now history. That little wedge pullback to the 10 and now popping higher. So yeah, congrats to the longs there. That looks fantastic. Okay, I said I'm not going to have all stocks that are going higher. I don't get this right here because this is Newmont, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, miner. And gold has been, all the commodities are on fire here. Gold, silver, copper, and this one, if you can't do well in a bull market of commodities like this, when are you going to do well? And this one just sold off 15%. That's adios, muchachos. This is really disappointing. Closed near the low of the range, so the shorts are going to be happy about that. Yeah, if you can't make money in this type of market in commodities, give it up. And I'm not going to go through the miners today. I do that every day. They've just been on a hell of a run. So you got to own one of them, I guess, just to diversify your portfolio. But Newmont is not the one. That thing was a stinker today. Sorry about that if you own it. Wyndham Hotels, another one, just a clean breakout. I got to go to the weekly here. That's a stage one base and a clean breakout. This is only 4 days of volume, so it's, this is really nice here. Move on Wyndham this week. Yeah, up 8% for the week, above 90. That old buy point there of 81.73 is thing of the past. History at 11% move with 200% above average daily volume. You can see that buy point right there. The standard, paint by numbers buy point. That's a long period of consolidation. It did pull back prior to the earnings, but that's a hell of a move for Wyndham Hotels. And if I'm looking for auxiliary plays, right? So I would look towards Hilton. What did Hilton do today? Not much. You got to look around. That's what I do anyway. When I see a move like that, I look to see if the other leisure lodging stocks are getting some pen action from a move like that. Goosehead. This is insurance, not the goose goose down jackets. Goosehead Insurance, obviously a big breakout here. And then you got to look at the weekly on this one. It was up 12% today. And wow, look at that cup with handle. The handle took a long time for it to handle out and then pop today. So you have to be really patient with Goosehead Insurance. There's your handle right there. So as it handled out here, and it just went sideways forever and a day at that 92.50. And here you go again, that little bull wedge pattern back to the 10 just really popped. That's a fantastic move. I got to look at this on the 5-minute chart. Yeah, sold off in the morning. So that's the old okey doke, right? Faked everybody out like, oh, those numbers aren't that good. Whoop, buyers come in. Look at the high volume close here. So congrats to the longs there. Goosehead Insurance. That was a nice move. TMUS, T-Mobile. The Verizon didn't report a great quarter, but AT&T did, and now T-Mobile comes on the heels of those two earnings in a nice move today, making a new high. And you just got to look at this, weekly chart, just showing a nice uptrend here for T-Mobile. So fantastic stock, fantastic move. So congrats to the longs there at T-Mobile. Do you think I'm done with this? No, I'm not. There's another financial. They're one of these West Southwest banks, which has been really strong. I've been pointing a lot of these out recently. This is COLB, Columbia Banking Systems. You got to look at the weekly here. This is a stage one base. Looks like it's trying to break out. So that should definitely pique your interest. Slower moving stock. It's a smaller stock. It's, 5.9 billion market cap, but have you seen this before? And I don't condone buying, right ahead of the earnings reports, but these have been rewarded, this bull wedge pattern over and over again. So I'd like to buy stuff that after their earnings, like VRT, which reported yesterday, had that big bar and then had an inside day today, and that's fine. closed right at its 10, I believe. I know some people were very frustrated with this stock, but it's not going to go up and make new highs every day. That's a real positive move, I think. On the heels of yesterday's, that's a very ominous bar there. Yeah, down 3.6% only in today. Got half of that back roughly. So not bad for VRT. Anyway, I digress. My last one is Pure Cycle Technologies, chemical plastic. Not a real strong group, but that's a real strong move here. 30% move. Thank you very much. Let's take a look at the weekly here. Yeah, that's a nice breakout from this stage two, $8. Man, it's almost doubled since then. So anyway, nice move. Congrats to the longs. Anytime you're up, 30% in a day with that type of volume, that's not to be ignored. And there's a little precursor to this here. If you look back, this up with volume and up with volume and up with volume and up with volume and up with volume, it continues to be up with volume. And now today it just really broke out. So that's why I pay attention to up with volume. A lot of stuff to pay attention to. All right, that's it for earnings for now. And I want to get to some of the other names that are doing well. This is a crypto name, MicroStrategy. And if I just go to the yearly chart, this is up 455% in the last year. So one of the leading stocks and broke out from that 200 level, then made that little wedge pattern again, didn't it? Yeah, I think it did. Back to the 10, then ran up, came back to the 10 on Wednesday when everything sold off, and now rallied 10% today. And they report earnings on the 30th next week, the day before Halloween. Ooh. Will it be a trick or treat for the MicroStrategy longs? All right. Okay. When you're talking crypto, you got to go to Robinhood, which is one of the bigger brokerage. Just made this move higher and now forming a shelf pattern. That looks pretty good. And then Coin. Oops, Coin, COIN, if I could type properly. Above the 200, pull back now. 5% bounce today. Not bad. Coin is certainly not strong like a MicroStrategy, though. Anyway, that's it for the crypto names. Some more of the banking stocks. The banking stocks are just really strong. This is SOFI. What is it? The LA Rams Stadium, the SoFi Stadium. Anyway, you can see the stage one base here finally breaking out of this base here. And it was back in the day, like I don't know, I want to say a $40 stock. Okay, $28 stock before that bear market got it. And now it's emerging, kind of like Palantir has already done. If you want to look at Palantir, I would IPO'd and then got in that bear market. Now it's made this run, base on base, and now it's a later stage base, but Palantir looks pretty good too. All right, I digress. More financials. Stifle, man, look at this power move. Even when the indexes were down yesterday, this thing was up. Pull back to its 21, popped. That one looks good. Oh, Wells Fargo. Come on. Wells Fargo's making new highs. Look at this breakout. It's just trending higher. It looks like a Kelly Slater stock, Wells Fargo. What's going on here? We got Wells Fargo. We got General Motors. We got Philip Morris. What's going on? This is a KKR. Another finance investment management stock up 3%, making new highs. So just trending with its 10 EMA. So, all right, I'm going to move on because I'm getting hungry. I got to go to the food stocks. CAVA, just talk about Kelly Slater stocks. This thing is just grinding higher. The thing about CAVA is when it reported, it gapped higher. That low was 110, and then it pulled back. I think it might have had a downgrade, and it hit 110.66, 110.30, 110.34, 110.31. So it just held that low above the low of the gap day. So that was a tell right there that CAVA was going to go higher because they couldn't push it below that low of the gap day. And that's all it's done is just followed its moving averages, had this little bull wedge pattern to the 21, and now surfing the 10 higher. There's not much to do here if you own it. I mean, I guess you could add to it on those pullbacks, but geez, just count your money and go buy a CAVA lunch or something. That one looks fantastic. Another one that I like is DoorDash. This has the look of a model book stock. One of these days, I'm going to make a video on former stocks that were model book stocks that, petered out like a Cisco or something, and show you how this looks similar to some of those names that, we've studied in the past. And that's why I'm long this one. I finally got long this week. Um, yeah, this thing just looks it looks textbook to me. If you looked at enough charts over the years and looked at those old charts of past winners, this one's got that look. That's all I can say is it's got the look. So I'm not saying it's gonna, be a go up to 1,000 or anything, but I do think it's going higher. It's 63 billion market cap right now. I don't know. Maybe it can go up to 150, 200 billion market cap. Uh, that's what I'm expecting with DoorDash. It just looks to me like it's going to be a big winner. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Sprouts Farmers Market, SFM. This one's just talk about Kelly Slater stocks. My gosh, that thing looks fantastic. Just flat on the session today as Tesla's all the money. Another food stock is Texas Roadhouse. Another one of the, I wouldn't call them fast food, just a restaurant, pull back that bull wedge there to the 21, pop today 1%. And the other one is Brinker, the Maggiano Chili's, man. Geez, talk about a Kelly Slater stock. Um, if you own this, I mean, you got to recognize this pattern here is like every time it comes back, it gets support and then rips higher, and then it pulls back, gets support, and then rips higher. And this didn't even pull back to the 10 here. And now it's just going higher. It's just ignoring its 10. So it was down today, big deal. I mean, geez, this thing's on a roll. So I guess the margaritas at Chili's are fantastic. I wouldn't know. All right, a couple other groups. I'm just going to go quickly. The defensive names, hit and miss here. They've been reporting. They've had strong reports. This is Rocket Lab making new highs today. Just a super strong stock. If you're in the energy power group, another group of mixed bags, and this is GEV. This one, I don't know. This is the leading stock in this group of the alternative energy, and just I don't know if it's just going to go right through 200. It looks like it might want to. Definitely bounced off that 10 today after making that little shelf pattern. Gosh, what a move. And wow, 96% of the daily range. There's nothing much to say here. This thing is just super strong. But, Vistra was one that, you know, it's forming this little wedge pattern here. Obviously, there's a difference between these two names here. Is this one's kind of forming a base after this massive run, and there's nothing wrong with that. CEG is another one in the alternative energy group with the GE Vernova, and this one's kind of wedging like Vistra, but there's nothing wrong with that. After a big move from 171 to 280, needs a breather. Let it form some sort of a base, either a 5-week flat base or whatever, 3 weeks tight, whatever, just some sort of a base. So it gets a little bit of a rest after this massive move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 weeks in a row. It was straight up. I think Vistra was up like 13 days in a row. So they're not going to go, straight up. This one, yeah, 13 days in a row back here. And thank God we were in it as it broke above that downtrend line. And the other one was Talon, and I kind of like the way this one's looking. I didn't check it out today, but yeah, pulling back to its 10. So it pulled back to the 50, ran up. Now let's let it come back to those moving averages here. And I think that'll give you a chance if you want to own this thing. It's 1% above the 10, so not bad. The thing about this one is if you're buying it, the spreads are pretty wide. I mean, like $1 during the session. So you got to kind of put in a limit order on that one. All right, a couple other names. I got to go to the drugs because there's really, Monopore Therapeutics struck a deal with AstraZeneca today. And this is what could happen in the drug name. This is why people are enamored with drugs. This is a 115 million market cap after a 605% move today. So yeah, there's a licensing deal with AstraZeneca, and anytime you get a 600% move, you should have a rule to trim some, take some off the table, do yourself a favor. But if you're in that stock, man, what a move. Congratulations. You don't see those every day. CAPR, this is another one that I like. It's flat on the session today. But once again, just finding support at the 10. So every time it comes down to the 10, it's a buy. And every time it gaps up, it's a sell. So pretty simple pattern there for CAPR. The other one is TGTX. I don't know what it did today, but I like the pattern here, especially if you look at the weekly. This one's going to move with earnings. You got this cup and this like extended handle here, which is essentially, let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, this is like a little Darvis box too. I would like it to get above that 26.41. And it's traded at 21.11. It tested and retested that 21.11 area. Then it popped up. Now it traded down to its 50. But this thing looks pretty good to me. They don't report earnings till November 12th, and I think they're going to be pretty darn strong. All right. Then, a couple software names. QTWO, Q2 Holdings, and this one, talk about a Kelly Slater stock. This thing made a new high today. It just looks fantastic. GoDaddy, this one's setting up in a base. People are just really too impatient with stocks. This one had a hell of a run. I mean, from 71 up to 167. So it needs time to form a base. It's only been like 6 or 7 weeks here. It traded above its downtrend line after it pulled back to its 50. So that got me into the stock, but it's just trading sideways or flat, if you will, within its base, allowing the moving averages to catch up, trading tight. And I like that action a lot on the daily chart. If you look at the weekly, it'll show you this big move. And there's no guarantee that it's going to break out of this base. I mean, it could start a stage 4 decline easily. What am I talking about? Stage 4. Here's your stage 1. And then you got your ascending base, which is stage 2. And this could be a flat stage 3, and a stage 4 would be a decline. All stocks go through that. But, I don't think it's ready to do that, but I could be wrong. So I watch it every day, but I do like this. I like stocks that have shown the ability to make big moves, that consolidate within a base, that are trading tight near a moving average. So this fits a lot of the criteria that I like for a stock to move higher. I'm not saying it's going to go higher tomorrow, but maybe next week or maybe next month. But I'm definitely going to keep my eye on that one. I like it a lot. And then App Lovin, just, gosh, people are really impatient these days. Like, what's the matter with App Lovin? Nothing. It just, it was flat on the session today after up nearly 10% this week. It's not going to go up, every day or every week. Last week it was down a little bit too. So be patient, folks, with your trades. As long as they're not violating your rules, you don't have 5% loss, or it's slicing its moving averages, and just hang on. This is doing nothing wrong if you own it, which I do. It's not doing anything wrong. So yeah, just sit tight, relax, let your stocks work for you a little bit if you can. All right, tonight we have, excuse me, that's it for me, except for none of the great Steve Jobs and Colombo. One more thing. Uh, Tonight we had earnings from Dexcom. I did read a little bit about this report, and it wasn't that great, down 7%. I think they're up against the GLP-1 drugs. This is a diabetes product stock. And if people are using this semaglutide, GLP-1 drugs from Eli Lilly or Novo, then they're kind of shying away from using these products. That's my story. But anyway, it's just, forming this flat pattern here and can't break out of it, down another 6% tonight. If you look at a weekly, you can see how flat this has been for so long. If you look at the monthly, though, this was a big winner for a long, long time. And now it's just kind of hit the skids. And I think it's the weight loss drugs that are having a negative impact on this stock. So you have to stay away from stuff like that. Like I say, even though we're in a strong uptrend, we're in a bull market, not all stocks are going to work for you, even ones that have worked in the past. So you got to be flexible and open-minded. That is not a stock for me. I don't try to pick bottoms, and I don't like buying weakness. Okay, that's enough. Financial name reported tonight, strong report. I'm going to have more information in the morning. This is Capital One Financial. Have we seen this before, folks? This run up and then pull back to the moving averages down to the 21. Now it's going to pop tomorrow. So it's got that buy point there at 153.35. So, you could take a swing at that one tomorrow if it doesn't go crazy and get way above that 10 EMA, which today was at 155.16. So not bad, in between 153 and 155, not bad. Looks like it's going to open tomorrow around 159. We'll see. Anything can happen. I don't really trust after hours data because crazy people trade after hours. All right, this Skechers is up 7%. I didn't mean that. Sorry. Um, yeah, I just don't trust after hours stuff. Skechers, I didn't really read much into the report. I want to say that they beat top and bottom line, and then they guided flat. That's what I want to say, or guided down for EPS and up for revenues. But anyway, we just are concerned with the response. Is it positive or negative? And so tomorrow it looks like it's got a lot of resistance to get through here, but 65, which is about where the 21 is, right? 66 is the 50. So we'll see. I'm going to keep my eye on Skechers, but the one that I really like, and I went through the data here with Deckers. Now, Dave Powers resigned from Deckers. He retired at 56. Kind of nice, right? I guess when you're the CEO of a powerhouse like this, which has been a monster forever and a day, and talk about monster stocks. This is one of the top stocks of this century. Deckers is one that I really, really like. I like shoe stocks. I like apparel stocks. I like retail. But anyway, Deckers bought Hoka in 2013 for $1 million. Today, they reported $530 million of sales just in the last quarter. International sales were up like 34%. Domestic sales were up like 15%. So the sales were up about 20%, and I want to say they guided in line or maybe a little lower on revs, but they really smashed earnings estimates and growing at 20%. As long as they stay there, that's fine. Sales, 8, 16, 21, 22, that's fine. Obviously having a nice response after hours. Deckers is just, one of the great footwear brands, going right now. Yeah, like I said, 20% sales. Hoka, I think probably the greatest acquisition of the last 20 years. When you buy a company for $1 million, I know YouTube was a great buy. I know WhatsApp was a great buy, or Instagram, but man, 570 million in a quarter. So they're doing, over 2 billion a year for a $1 million acquisition, not billion, $1 million acquisition. And so when you see Deckers and Skechers move like that, tomorrow you might want to look at something. If you don't want to buy something too hot, you might want to look at something like ON, which has got this wedge pattern as it pulls back to its 50. That should pops up 2% after hours. If you don't want to chase something too hot, up 8, 9%, that could be an auxiliary play. And same with Crocs. They're going to report next week. I think Crocs is undervalued, and I think they're going to blow it out. Yeah, this thing shouldn't be 130. And this one, it has this wedge pattern, but it sliced its 50. Now it slices 200. Still above that 123. But my goodness, I mean, how low is this thing going to go? I don't know if you're into, buying, stuff. This is not my style, by the way. If I don't like to buy weakness, but if you like to buy stuff low that you think you're getting a deal, I think that's okay. Risk reward is pretty good right there for Crocs. I wouldn't suggest getting too big into earnings, but I think they're going to have a good quarter anyway. They hired Sydney Sweeney for Hey Dude, and they hired the brand guy from Stanley, PR guy. So I think they're going to do well. Hey Dude's not going to be quite the drag that it has been for Crocs. And anyway, a couple others in this vein is TMDX, another one that is just sold off like crazy. I mean, this is a $177 stock not too long ago. now it's, sliced its 200 on Wednesday and recaptured that today. And I don't know, they report next, what's the 28th? I don't know, Monday or Tuesday. I just sometimes, I don't know, these things sell off a little bit. So risk reward, I might a probe position 1%, 2% into earnings. I mean, if you lose it, you lose it, but I don't like to gamble. But these are some that have really sold off. I think Elf has been way miscalculated here. It's been selling off with L'Oreal. I think some of the metrics that they're using, because Elf sells on Roblox, Twitch, it's hard to track their sales, but they have sales, 50% sales. I don't know. I don't know. Talk about a stage 4 here. This is your stage 1. Here's your ascent stage, your stage 3. Then it had this cup with handle, looked like it was going to move higher. Your stage 3 where it could not progress any further. Now it's in a stage 4. But stocks in stage 4 bases can, form bases and then do what? Then start trading higher with earnings. Got to have the earnings. They're not going to go down forever like a Peloton. That's a totally different story. Even that one's popped up to 6 or Celsius. I mean, they're not going to trade forever, but this is definitely a stage 4. You can see the stage 1, the incline stage 2, and now it's in a stage 4. Maybe it'll just form a little base here and get back into trend higher. But right now, pretty tough to buy these down here. That's not something that's not my style, but I'm just saying risk reward. If you're that type of you like to buy bottoms, which I don't. I'm not suggesting that at all. But those are some of the names that have been strong in the past and might be a good risk reward if that's your style. Anyway, that's it for me at mcstockcharts.com. Congrats to all the longs there of those earnings, man. That's really nice day today with Tesla and ServiceNow and Lending Club and Celsius. And yeah, just a really nice day. Anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening.